Hey everybody, I am live from Cinemark 17 movie theater in Fayetteville, Georgia, and I just saw Godzilla, King of the Monsters. And I have to start off by saying very simply this: critics really got it wrong. And there is so much that was misreported that it should be considered a crime. First of all, this is the most intense giant monster movie I've ever seen in my entire life. The special effects are outstanding. They were led by the team of Industrial Light and Magic. The acting was fantastic, and the characters you care about. Millie Bobby Brown, Villa Farmiga, Kyle, who played in, among other things, Friday Night Lights, and Sarah Hawkins, who won an Academy Award, if you remember, for her role in the Guillermo del Toro film. I can go on, and of course there's O'Shea Jackson Jr., who's the son of Ice Cube. But the star is Godzilla, and King Ghidorah, and Rodan, and Mothra. Anyone who tells you that the human story isn't something you care about didn't pay attention to the movie. I'm going to break ranks. I'm going to tell you what this is about. It picks up from the aftermath of Godzilla's visit to San Francisco and his fight in San Francisco in 2014. And Monarch has grown. It has received a great deal of funding. It is regarded as an extremely important government organization. The monsters that Monarch has in its registry are largely kept secret, except that with every organization, there is a counter-organization. In this case, there was a counter-organization, an Ecoterrorism group led by a character played by Charles Dance. And they come in very early and take a device that allows essentially a type of communication between humans and monsters. But the trouble is, this device makes a monster think that the person using it is a giant monster, an alpha predator. And so it comes looking to communicate with it, and it respects it. When this is used on King Ghidorah, it doesn't happen with great results. But what happens is that the eco-terrorists have this idea that if we released all of the monsters at once, it'll save the planet, because when Godzilla was in San Francisco fighting the Mutos, the result was growth in vegetation and also a regeneration of a number of species that were long thought to be extinct. So the idea in the movie is that Godzilla and the giant monsters give off so much life-generating radiation that it's really, maybe it's worth having them around. Some people think that. Other people think if you free them, it's going to lead to the extinction of humans on the planet. And it turns out there are a lot of them. So, for some particular reason, Villa Farmiga's character decides that she's going to release them all. Not one, as it was agreed to with the eco-terrorists played by Charles Dance, but all of them at once around the world. Starting with King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah is a three-headed monster called Monster Zero, an alien. Has nothing to play with. And Monster Zero has a long-standing hatred and warfare with Godzilla. Godzilla was never trapped himself. He was not known in terms of his whereabouts except by Monarch, who had been keeping track of him. But Godzilla zeroed in on one of Monarch's bases and realized the signal coming from them was, okay, they seem like they're harmless, so they're not exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to run off, right? He is looking for King Ghidorah, and eventually he does find King Ghidorah. He finds King Ghidorah for the first battle and in Mexico, and not only that, there's Rodan that joins them. Rodan, unbeknownst to Rodan, Mothra is also birthed but in the larvae form in one of their bases. He escapes, Mothra does, maybe I should say she, and then goes to a waterfall and basically cocoons in the waterfall. After a time, Mothra becomes the Mothra that we know, with a wingspan that's, I believe, something like 800 feet, 1,000-foot wingspan, something like that. Yeah, I'm not kidding. These things are huge, okay? Rodan has a wingspan like that and flies. You ever seen anything with a 1,000-foot wingspan that flies like that? No, there's no airplane on Earth that large, and the wings flap. So, as you can tell, I really got into this movie. The people, Vera Farmiga and her daughter, played by Millie Bobby Brown, and her husband, they worked for years on this communications device, but they were separated. They had a marital argument that was based around a disagreement in how to deal with these giant monsters and what to do with them, and what to do with the communications device. So Vera basically teams up with this eco-terrorist, but then later realizes the error of her ways. Dr. Serizawa plays a large role in this, no pun intended. He really does play a large role in this. And what happens is that, if you've ever seen the 1954 movie Godzilla, you remember the oxygen destroyer, right? Well, the oxygen destroyer actually plays a role in this movie. And let me put it this way, it doesn't quite work. So in the movie, Dr. Serizawa, it's found that they find Godzilla's underwater. It's not really underwater, but it's a kind of it's a cave base that he has that he regenerates, and he feeds off radiation. King Ghidorah was basically leading all of these giant monsters around the world to become active. And Kyle's character was saying, well, if you kill him, you kill King Ghidorah, you get all the rest of these, because they're all following him. So the effort is to revive Godzilla, because Godzilla was weakened almost to death by King Ghidorah and went to basically feed back and regenerate. But they wanted to hurry up the process. So Serizawa basically took a nuclear bomb and killed himself in regenerating Godzilla. And boy, does he regenerate Godzilla big time. Godzilla comes out, he's so radioactive that it's estimated he could literally blow up as a nuclear bomb and destroy everything in Boston. Why Boston? Because that is where one of the Monarch outposts was, an evacuation point, and it was thought that King Ghidorah was going to be headed there anyway. So Millie Bobby Brown steals the communications device, somehow gets to Boston, and in doing so, she gets to downtown in Fenway, and doing so activates it in Fenway Park. King Ghidorah picks it up, makes a beeline not only for Boston, where she is in the baseball, in that baseball stadium, and the three heads, I should say, they are trying to, in the process of being annoyed that she has this thing that's communicating with them and they don't quite know what to do, try to blow the crap out of her and destroy Fenway Park in the process. But they're stopped by a regenerated, revived Godzilla. And that throwdown is amazing. So while that battle's happening, Millie Bobby Brown's parents are reunited, Kyle and Vera, and they go trying to find her. She goes back to home. Boston is their home. So she tries to find their home. She finds it. The neighborhood is just basically destroyed. So they eventually find her in a bathtub, which is covered over a slab of concrete. And as they get her out there, the newly regenerated Godzilla, first of all, King Ghidorah is about to kill him a second time. Mothra came and basically sprinkled Godzilla in a sense, and whatever Mothra did to Godzilla, I should say, before in the process of being killed by King Ghidorah, managed to superpower Godzilla because King Ghidorah put Godzilla all the way up and basically let him drop to what seemed to be a death in Boston. But no, he revived, and the revived Godzilla basically crushed King Ghidorah in a very gruesome way. And you'll have to see that one. I'm not going to even tell you how that goes. It was interesting, okay? Interesting. It was definitely, I'll call it a Max Borenstein special, all right? Max Borenstein is one of the writers of Godzilla. But in all, the critics got it wrong. This is the best giant monster movie ever made. It really was, and it did a fantastic job of interplaying human and creature. But let's face it, it's a Godzilla movie, okay? So you're not. It's not like the 1998 Godzilla where you not only didn't get a lot of the Godzilla you got was small, or the 2014 where you got a lot of humans but you didn't get a lot of Godzilla, even though you liked what Godzilla you got, except it seemed like the Godzilla was scared, right? This Godzilla is none of those. This Godzilla is Godzilla. They did a great job. So, I come to think that sometimes people who review these things don't have a sense of history, they don't understand the material, and they don't enjoy it or respect it. And they ought to come into their reviews saying so. Because if you're an honest broker, if you're a Godzilla fan and you review this, if you're just a fan of giant monsters and science fiction, you're going to love it. And you're going to want to see it again. It really is good. All right, that's my review. I'll see you.